Welcome, you're listening to Passages. I'm Drew, and I got Jason and Tim with me. Guys, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, man, it's a good night. Trying to get a little bit of packing done, headed to Peru on Friday, so that's going to get here really
awesome.
soon. Am I ready? No. Do I have anything packed? No.
Should you be here? No.
Probably not, but I'm not missing podcast night.
Well,
I guess next week I may, unless we can somehow or another figure out technology.
I don't know if we've mastered that yet, but
it'd be great to say live via satellite from Cusco,
say,
Peru.
Hola, ¿cómo está? yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've got a story that I think could impact Jason's life in a significant way. So I want to throw out, coming from AL.com, Wendy's to test dynamic pricing denies surge pricing model. And so this is a story. We're not going to do fast food every week.
I was going to say we might just need, say this is our fast food segment of the hour.
Well, in fact, if it was the fast food segment of the hour brought to you by, if you would like to buy some advertising time, we could probably come up with something every week.
And I know at least 2/3 of this group spends a small amount of time at fast food establishments. So it's something we're familiar with.
Yeah. So the price of your next meal at Wendy's could vary depending on the time you place your order. On an earnings call earlier this month, the president and CEO of Wendy's announced that the company will invest about $20 million into digital menus at all the stores. Dynamic pricing is a fluctuating price strategy based on external factors, including supply, demand, and time of day. So this came out, and the first time I heard about it, it was like, well, how could that, if it's based on time of day, price goes up at meal time? I mean, that's when you go to a restaurant,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, so if you go for the Baconator, let's just say theoretically, hypothetically, that could happen.
It could. Maybe even on the way home tonight.
Yeah, but, it could be good for you because if you go at a low demand hour, maybe you get a cheap Baconator as opposed to at noon. So this could work in your favor, but they clearly got some blowback because they came out with this first statement, and then it said, in a later statement, however, Wendy's backed off the idea that food prices will fluctuate during the day. Wendy's will not implement surge pricing, which is the practice of raising prices when demand is highest. We didn't use that phrase, nor did we plan to implement that practice, which meant they fully intended to implement that practice.
Sure. But they called it dynamic pricing.
And then they got some blowback on. And so they also said that they're going to invest more resources into their breakfast menu. Now, I will say personally that I tried Wendy's breakfast one time, and those folks don't know what a biscuit is.
There's no way I go there for breakfast.
I've never heard of a Wendy's
I believe
breakfast.
that it had like a piece of egg, some sausage, a cheese, the basics. And I'll tell you, it had to be a hamburger bun that
and
they
some
put that
bread-like
stuff on.
substance.
And can you imagine biting into a hamburger bun at breakfast time? That's disgusting.
Yeah,
That's
there's
no
another.
good.
I can't think of. There's another place that does their breakfast sandwich, and it's on a hamburger bun, and it's a foul.
No,
it
that
doesn't
is
work.
not appropriate. And I mean, the breakfast game at fast food's not that tough. I mean, go get the equivalent of some Grands, pop them open, and put some meat and cheese in between them and be done with it. I mean, it's not grandma's biscuits or anything, but
you got to go down to
it's serviceable.
The American Legion and recruit some veterans to frequent your establishment every morning at 7 a.m.
That's it. That's when you know you've made it.
Hardee's tapped into that a long time.
Oh,
They did.
Man.
Until they went red burrito, and then they lost that crowd, and Jack's took over.
Well, I think they were specializing in the World War II guys.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. So here's a question.
Yeah.
So you said they were investing $20 million in digital technology, and they're investing more in their breakfast functions, right?
That's right.
Could we not invest in digital technology? I think I just had a mini stroke. And breakfast.
And the breakfast
and
as
we
well.
could just cut prices on the Baconator.
Wouldn't that seem to be a great idea?
People at Wendy's, if you're listening to me, and I like to consider myself one of the family, if we could not invest in the digital menus and signage, and just drop that price a couple of bucks per combo, that would be awesome. We've already admitted your fries are good.
Right.
You have the greatest fast food burger known to man. Now, if we could just get that thing fairly priced.
But it says that part of what will come into play is supply and demand. So what you're telling me, those that took over Wendy's from Dave Thomas, who would never do such a terrible thing
No.
as this, is that when you plan so poorly that, let's say, for instance, you run out of chocolate Frosties or French fries or
they're always out of potatoes. Always out of
baked potatoes. That's a terrible.
They're always out of
Millie
them.
will send me. I just like a plain baked potato.
Can't get it.
We're out of those.
It's like there's Publix 100 yards behind you.
what-
Could we not go get some
You know what will
potatoes?
happen now? I'd like a plain baked potato. Sure, that'll be $27.
We have one.
So
know,
they are doing.
So they're
I got lost in the
so
story.
it said that they're not doing surge pricing at the highest demand times, but it says that dynamic pricing is a fluctuating pricing strategy based on external factors including supply, demand, and time of day. Then they backed off on the time of day. Well, you're left with supply and demand,
which
or
is the same thing as time of day.
I don't know. Maybe it means that,
certain
like,
times of the day there's a higher demand.
maybe it's this: if we're about to throw it in the dumpster at 15 till 11, we'll knock a couple of bucks off
It was
that
like at the ball
Baconator,
field last night.
which could work for you.
It
Ball
could
field
because
last
I'm
night,
always
the
late.
concession
The
stand
go-
said
the go home-
hamburgers or BOGO. That's what they're gonna do.
There you go. That may be it. So maybe it's a way for them to clean out the fryer at the end of the day or something. I don't know.
And it was a late night at the old ball field last night because I didn't get home till late. We were home. Y'all were away.
We
I
were
saw
up
the bus come back
North
through.
Jefferson.
Yeah. So I'll jump into my segment.
Go.
I'm going to call an audible because I was going to talk about something that delved back into the food world, but let's back away from the food world. And I want to talk about an interesting conversation I had with a patient earlier this week. Now, we won't divulge any HIPAA-related information, but I'm just going to say this lady was into her 90s. So this is an older senior.
You just narrowed it down
member.
for us quite a bit.
Well, you still don't know who, but here we go. We had a discussion that since she was born, the things, I don't know how we got on this. Sometimes you just have these random conversations. Things that you have seen change over your lifetime and most impactful things. So, I mean, we're talking someone that lived all the way through World War II, was a small child, but was still old enough to remember World War II. And, I mean, she
She
saw...
was born in the 30s.
Yes, saw phones, saw internet, saw utilities. I mean, the milkman was delivering when she was a child to the house, delivering these glass bottles of milk to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it got me thinking, and it was one of the ideas I had as I was thinking about the podcast tonight. So I've lived on this planet. I'm in my mid-40s. You're late 40s. Tim, you're early 50s, right?
if that's what 57 is.
Yeah, I was trying
Sure, I'll
to.
go with that.
I was trying to help you with that. You're supposed to say, "Sure, that sounds just right." But so in our lifetimes, we've seen some major changes. What's the biggest thing you've seen in your life that you really, really like? You could not live without. So for me, I was at least young enough I can remember when air conditioning was starting to become a big
Dude,
thing.
you
In
got
fact,
mine.
the house that I was born in, I don't think we had air conditioning. It was either upstairs. I don't remember. There was part of it that wasn't, because I always remember the attic fan. You know, it would like pull your hair up. It had so much power, and you had the windows open with box fans going. I can remember that.
So are you telling me you were born in a house without air conditioning?
No, we had air conditioning, I think,
Had a
on the
window
main
unit
level.
or
I think
something?
on the main level, but it was like a split-level house. And I
okay.
remember it just being always hot and the attic fan running. And, you know, if you're upstairs, the cool air, it's going down. It's going. But there was that. And then, you know, of course, the modern cell phone. I mean, I still remember stopping and using payphones and how, you know, that was just an odd thing. You'd call, collect sometimes. I mean, these are things our kids buying phone cards was something I used to do in college to make calls home.
Did you do the collect call where they would deny it, but you would fake it out with like a piece of information? Like,
oh no, I would just say, call me back. And they'd call me back and use their long distance instead of me paying long. But, you know, I mean, this lady saw so many major changes in her life. But what are some of the things you've seen in your life that just it's just crazy to you that it's changed so much.
Well, I will start with just to ditto the air conditioning because in the Layton house, when we sold the house, still didn't have central air. So it had central heat, but no central air. So when I think I can remember, and my sister, who's one of our listeners, can help me out with this somewhere down the line. I think I can remember when we got the first air conditioner. I remember a giant fan that went into the window that had a cage around it that sat in the window like a window unit air conditioner does. And I remember that being maybe even in my bedroom on one end of the house. So this was a house with a long hall and rooms on each side, and then a den and a kitchen on the end of the front end of the house. And so for a significant period of time, there was only a window unit air conditioner in the den, that would have pointed into the den in the kitchen. And then there was a window unit that went into my room, and my sister's room and mine were across from each other, and in the other end of the house it would blow back across. Then eventually my mom got one in her room, which was next to mine, but there was never central air in there. I think that the people who bought the house put in central air, but it was window units, and for a while, I know for a while it was only the one in one end of the house. And so I remember, our rooms being cool back in the back was a game changer.
Just laying in bed not sweating had to be really a nice thing.
And y'all know me enough to know now I have made up for that in a major way. Indeed. Because I'll live in the Arctic. I mean, it's no problem.
Alabama Power thanks me every year.
The last few days, and we just today there's a front blew through and the temps dropped, but I thought it got to about 75, and I thought summer's coming.
Can't do this,
guys.
Now, although I enjoy being outdoors, and we've got a pool that we enjoy outside.
I like the longer days.
Man, I love.
But
cold
those
weather.
100-degree temps are awful.
And y'all know I'll wear my short pants in February, and and people be like, "What?" and short sleeve shirts, and they're like, "Dude, it's freezing." And I tell them, I store up a lot of heat in the summer that I've got to get rid of.
I'd almost be willing to give up an arm before I gave up air conditioning.
Oh, man.
It would be a tough decision.
Yeah. I'd clearly give a finger up for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Drew? I'd drop a digit.
Yeah.
All right, Drew.
Wow.
How about you?
Well, first of all, I'm feeling very privileged because I don't remember any time in my life not having air conditioning. I do remember many evenings when my parents didn't use the air conditioning, but we've always had air conditioning.
And that may have been, I was young. I was 7 when we moved out of that house. I just remember it being hot and the attic fan and the box fans running all the time.
Yeah.
One of our listeners will probably correct me later tonight or whenever this thing hits the airwaves.
Sure. I had a good one until you said, well, you qualified it at the end by saying that you just, I think you said something like that you just couldn't live without.
Oh, well, just throw anything out.
But,
There's no
the
format
biggest
here.
development in my lifetime's been the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to feel really old, just tell somebody a story about how we did things before the internet. It's been around long enough.
Man, I had the Dewey Decimal System memorized at one point. I mean, we
Yeah.
had to go to library and practice the Dewey Decimal
I used
System.
the Dewey Decimal System, and I was in college when the internet started to be used at my college, and it was all script, all text-based,
Yep.
no pictures. And I remember it was a big deal my senior year when we started getting pictures over the internet. But could I live without it? Absolutely. I mean, not in this world,
Yeah, no.
but if the whole world went back to pre-internet days, I'd be just fine.
Oh, I think I would be pretty comfortable. What year was that when internet really hit the mainstream? 94? 93, 94?
94, 95, not 93.
Because I know
some
I didn't
homes
have
had it.
email till I got in college in '97. That was my first
Yeah.
email
Yeah,
address.
somewhere around there
was
before it
96,
started
97 before
taking.
I
So
had
in
an email
Yeah.
address.
what 30 years, we now carry it around in our pocket. That's
It's
my kids can't
really
understand how
moved
quickly
fast.
that changed. Because I can still remember going to the old encyclopedia to look stuff up.
Oh
And then-
man, we had a set of world books.
Oh, y'all can't
And-
hide money, Tim.
You know,
We had the Compton
we
Encyclopedia.
didn't have Central Air, but we had a set of world books. I'll tell you
I
that
don't remember
much.
what we had encyclopedias. I don't remember.
And you know, so those reports came out of those world books
Yeah.
because I mean, it was like I got to do a report on Abraham Lincoln. Go get the L off the shelf.
The other
and,
night, Jason and I were talking about using those maps that were books with spiral binding. And if you
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to go somewhere that you'd never been before, and you didn't have directions that you wrote on a napkin,
Oh,
you'd have to go
man.
to the index,
Yeah.
look up the street. It would say page 45, C3. You'd flip over to the page and then try not to have a wreck, hunting down the road.
I know I've told y'all
That
this
was
story
a
before,
pain.
but while we're on those, after my mom had cancer, I think it was in remission, and she was in a period of time where she didn't have to take treatments, and Millie and I took her on a vacation to Branson, Missouri, and so we went up and we saw, you know, the Shoji Tabuchi and the
Right.
Lawrence Welk show and a whole bunch of stuff. Wayne Newton, who put her to sleep, literally
Well,
put her to sleep.
that Wayne Newton, strange guy.
Overrated. You know,
Yeah, I never understood it.
and it was clear.
Always preferred Fig
well,
Newton.
it was clear that he didn't belong in Branson, Missouri. He belonged in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why, but you know, he was like the man in Las Vegas. Branson, Missouri, the theater was half full, and it was a yawner. And basically, he had the theater on loan from the Oak Ridge Boys, because like the Oak Ridge Boys would do half a year up there, and then he would come in and do the other half, and then I think he went back to Las Vegas, which was a good move on his part. Okay, back to the story about the Atlas. So we had bought a book. I mean, we planned this trip out, you know, so it's like, what are the places we want to eat? Because Branson, you know, it's like Gatlinburg in a lot of ways. You know, there's one big road, and then there's all these restaurants and all these theaters. And so, you know, we had bought a travel book about Branson. What are the best shows to see? We bought tickets to, you know, all the best ones. We decided we had it all mapped out. And then it was time to travel. And so I get out the giant Rand McNally Atlas or whatever. And so I look at the route to go to Branson, Missouri, and I say, well, we could go over here and take the interstate across and then the interstate up. Or we could go up here. It looks like we could cut off an hour or two or 100 miles.
There's where you made your mistake.
By going through Jonesboro, Arkansas, and then getting into southern Missouri, and then going
Missouri.
west for about 60 miles. And so there was a straight line road there for 60 miles in southern Missouri.
Did you use your fingertip to measure, or did you get a ruler out?
I think I probably measured knowing myself, I probably measured every bit of this out and said,
he had a protractor out, I guarantee
it is
it.
73 miles shorter if we go this way. I'm a genius. It's like Lewis and Clark here. I have figured out the secret to getting to Branson,
94
Missouri.
cents a gallon. This will save us a ton of money.
This is easy money right here. So we went up. I think we maybe spent the night. We went to church in Jonesboro, Arkansas, I remember, and then we headed on north. And you know how sometimes there's a little fine print in those atlases, you know, that maybe you need a
Not
little
to scale.
magnifying glass for. Well, the part that I didn't read said Mark Twain National Forest.
Oh.
And so that little road right there ran for 60 miles through the Mark Twain National Forest. And you know what I learned? They can't draw U-turns for 60 miles in a Rand McNally Atlas. Switchbacks.
So they just went with the straight line.
Your
it
car's
was
sick
it was
and
150
driving slow.
miles of road packed into 60 miles of a straight line.
Is that where the motion sickness started, Tim?
Not for me because I was driving. However, my dear bride was flanked out in the back seat taking a nap, and when she woke up, she was sick as a dog because
I can
all we had
imagine.
done was just, and we all the way through there, it'd say, Bug Tussle, Missouri, population 17. And we come to the next little, wide place in the road, population 32. And I mean, it was an interesting ride, but I thought it would never end because. And so, what would we do today? Pull up old Waze or Maps or whatever, and it would laugh at that idea right there. And so that's a big one.
I think the navigation is the best development over the last couple decades.
For a guy that gets lost and turns around all the time, it's perfect.
But
for
the
me.
other thing on the phone that's sort of revolutionary, and we talk about the phone a lot in less than positive ways it's appropriate to do. Photography.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we take pictures of everything all the time now, right? If you're
You don't have to get the film
if
developed.
you're turned an interesting way, right? I mean, so, back in the day, it was a big deal when you were taking a picture because, number one, you only had 24 shots on that roll. I got to go back and buy some more film. I got to get this film developed. And so, the number of pictures that we had were really limited.
Oh,
and none of them
nothing
were
like
very
today.
good because you couldn't see them until after you got them developed. You just
Figure
hoped.
it turned out.
That's right. And so we'd go on vacation. I think we went on our honeymoon, and we had, we'd packed like 6 rolls of film, right, which we had spent a month's, salary on or something, and so you gotta spread that out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we got to be careful
You
because
pace yourself.
you got to pace. You say, I can only try to take one shot at this thing, of this volcano erupting, right? Before, because
Maybe that's why people are so indulgent these days. There's no pacing in the technology.
Could be
because
it.
I remember when text messaging first came out.
Mm-hmm.
You get like 12 texts a day or
Now
something
they're
like that.
unlimited.
Like, man, it's noon. I've already sent out 2 texts. I better slow down.
That is
I'm
true.
getting greedy here.
There's no guardrails up to slow our indulgence in the technology.
No,
That's right.
we have to do it ourselves. Well, I'd like to start a segment here. I'm trying to get something started. Last week, I got us to switch over from calling it stories to segments.
all right.
Now I'd like to name our segments. I think we have enough material going to have a fast food segment from time to time. Not every week.
Uh huh.
And I'd like to call this segment Rock News.
Rock news.
There you go. Rock News. So I have some rock news.
Okay.
First of all, the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
All right.
And have y'all noticed, I don't know if you pay much attention to the nominees for Rock and Roll Hall
No.
of
I
Fame
do.
or inductees,
Mm-hmm.
but there's not a whole lot of rock and roll music being made these days, so they're getting creative,
Yes,
we
they
might
are.
say, with the inductees.
This is going to disappoint me, isn't it?
Yeah. If you were dumb enough to
Don't-
have high hopes,
Please
I
tell
mean,
me that a certain individual that we have maligned in here on multiple
Oh,
occasions isn't on this
she's
list
not
yet.
on here
Okay,
yet.
good.
But okay, here I'm just gonna read through them.
Creed.
Oh man.
Let's hope not.
Oh,
Okay, the first, I guess this is alphabetical order. Mary J. Blige, not rock and roll.
No,
It's not rock and roll.
Yep.
Mariah Carey.
not
Now,
rock
these
and
are
roll.
just nominees, by the way.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily in. You can
so
vote
they-
on these every day. We're still in the window of voting, so
Who votes?
this is a
so
public
anyone
service.
can vote.
Anybody can vote.
Well, there's the problem.
There's a scale.
Okay.
Like the popular vote is a part of the
Okay.
process.
Because you got two people that have they made rock music ever?
So what
No.
would you say Mary J. Blige is? Is she rap? Is she
I'd say hip hop.
R&B?
or
Hip hop?
R&B, hip hop.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mariah, much more popular,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pop music.
Cher. Is she rock and roll?
You know, are we talking about her now or her in 1960 when she?
What was she doing on that song? That was like a historic song. Because it's the first time they used auto-tune in a recording,
And it was a
right?
lot of auto-tuning in that song.
Thank you, Cher, for bringing that into the world.
But I think she would have been considered rock in the late 60s, early 70s.
The best thing Cher ever did.
Now, of those three, she's definitely more rock than Mariah
Yeah,
Carey
yeah.
or Mary J.
Because
Blige.
of I Got You, Babe. Is that her rock hit?
I'm just saying.
I'm going to tell you what, that blew my eardrums out. I got Sonny and Cher.
I can see where they would classify her based on her past. She's more pop music
She was
today.
hippie culture.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s,
She's not either. She's just closer than the other two.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know, what's with the snub of Sonny?
It's true.
It's the mustache.
Anyway. Next, this one surprised me. Dave Matthews Band. But I guess they've been around long enough to
Yeah.
get a nomination.
They're the most rock band
So
that's
far.
been mentioned so far.
They're yeah.
Here's one I know that y'all were expecting. Eric B. and Rakim.
I've never heard of these people.
Eric B. and Rakim. Who doesn't love a little Eric B. and Rakim?
Now I'm going to have to Google them. I have no
I don't
clue
know
who
who
that
that
is.
is.
Not a clue.
Here's one
So how can you go? I mean, I listen to 106.9 The Eagle classic rock all the time.
Yeah.
Surely, if they're deserving of the Hall of Fame, I should have heard of them.
This
Right.
is
I don't think they're
I
rock.
might not
even
like them,
Google
but
has them listed as a hip hop duo.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, they're bringing hip hop into the rock and
They
roll Hall
are.
of Fame.
They are.
And there's a lot more of that to come here.
Yeah.
Foreigner, that's
Okay.
the classic rock
Yeah.
band on
Oh
here.
yeah, absolutely.
Not a huge,
I'm not a big Foreigner
not a big
fan.
Foreigner fan.
But I think I did have a copy of Foreigner 4, the album.
But listen to 106.9 for 4 hours. You're going to hear one or two Foreigner
Yeah,
songs.
sure.
Oh,
during that time.
absolutely, yeah.
Somebody likes them. Peter Frampton, I'm surprised he's not already in there.
Yeah, and that's a deserving one. He should be
No,
there.
'cause
Yeah.
No, you don't feel.
Yeah. Oh,
He
yeah.
made his guitar talk.
Oh, yeah.
I think his live album's like one of the best-selling live albums.
Frampton Comes Alive, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think
absolutely.
he inspired other artists to use that technology. I think he was kind of the first to do that technology. Yeah.
Guitar thing. Jane's
Where he
Addiction.
puts that
thing?
tube
The
thing
tube in the mouth?
on the microphone. Yeah.
Jane's Addiction.
Sure.
You know, it's a 90s band.
Oh, I remember them.
They're probably not going to make it in this time, but they were big behind, like the guy that did that. He organized Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza,
How
yeah.
do you say it?
Lollapalooza.
So they started the festivals
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Kool and the Gang. That's not a rock band.
No, not rock.
That'd be funk, maybe.
Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny's rock.
Yeah,
That's
he's
rock.
leaned into rock.
That's
yeah.
a solid
Yeah.
nomination
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I saw him the other day, and he's still really cool.
Yeah, I wish I could be that cool.
Yeah, that dude is cool. He just oozes cool.
Was it on the
Really does.
commercial where he's advertising cologne?
No, he was performing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and he still got it.
Yeah. He's not that old.
He's not. He's not. But he
he's
hasn't been
made enough
around for a
music.
while. Yeah. I mean, not in the
I think
limelight.
it's time to put him in there. Oasis.
Yeah, you
I
know,
just-
I mean,
I
they're
mean,
not my favorite.
They were
but yeah.
influential, but I never got into them. Sinead O'Connor. No.
Hey, Lenny Kravitz is 59 years old.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
that old, is it, Tim?
It's not that
No.
old. But I'm shocked by that.
Sinead O'Connor.
Old
never.
Sinead. I just no.
She had one hit.
Yeah,
and
I mean
people
that
felt
that-
sorry for
You know
her.
what that
She
is? That's a
shaved her
political. That's a
head.
political move right there,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, because she
tore
died.
tore up the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live. You remember
Right.
that?
Oh, I remember.
Yep. And then she disappeared after that, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that was
Didn't even write her a big hit.
It was the Illuminati, probably.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, he's-
Ozzy.
How is he not in there already? I guess Black Sabbath
I bet Black
is in
Sabbath's
there.
in there. Yeah.
there. Sadie.
I have no clue.
I
who
don't
that
know
Oh,
who
is
that
that
is.
Sade? Is that?
Oh,
is
did
that-
I say it wrong?
How do you spell that?
It's Sade, right?
Yeah.
I think that's.
Sade.
But again, like
Who is that?
like R&B, I think. Jason, give us a. Give us
they're
some.
a English
Give us some
band.
No, I think it's a lady,
S-
right?
SADE.
Do you have any
I just have the
pictures?
name.
This just says
SADE?
band, SADE, English band formed in London in 1982.
That's probably it.
Their genres are soul, smooth jazz, sophistopop, progressive soul, and R&B.
Don't
That's
hear
on-
rock and roll in that.
And that's
list of
coming off
genres.
of
Okay, but
Sadie or
but
Sade.com.
Sade sang "Smooth Operator." Smooth operator.
And I have heard that song. On
So I
yacht.
want-
I mean, that's yacht rock or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No.
Yeah,
and
I
then
agree.
last, Tribe Called Quest. Very influential hip hop band.
Yeah.
Not rock and roll.
Right.
Now those are nominees. So Foreigner, Lenny Kravitz, Dave Matthews Band, maybe.
I mean, I can see Oasis.
So
Oasis.
is
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest different than like the folks who play for Jimmy Fallon right now? I mean,
That's the Roots.
But Questlove's in there, right?
Oh, was he? Maybe he was in that
I
group.
think so. It's not the same guys, right? So, but there's an overlap between Tribe Called Quest and the Roots, I believe, because Questlove's in the Roots. I think that's right.
Yeah, I don't really listen to hip hop because I can't because it's filthy. So,
Yeah.
There's your public service announcement for the episode. We're still in rock news.
Rock news.
I feel like we're doing a cheesy MTV show.
I might have to go back in and
but-
do some
but-
sound effects.
So,
on
do you know who they?
segment.
Was it last year that they inducted Dolly Parton into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh yes, and then
See-
she made that horrible.
And then she felt obliged to make a rock album.
Did she make a rock album?
Yes.
Jason.
Oh, I haven't heard it. I'm not
Terrible
going to listen to
mistake.
it.
One of these days, we're gonna have our soundboard with
And
the technology where I can play.
If
things.
we had
Well,
a
I don't know
sponsor, if we had a sponsor that would want to sponsor a soundboard,
I don't know.
we're
we
all
may get
ears.
flagged for playing music that's not royalty free, but it's what you would think it would be. It's really bad.
All right, so
can't
on
imagine.
this list, who really deserves it? Dave Matthews. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think Oasis will get it just
Foreigner
because.
deserves it.
I
Foreigner
think
deserves
Oasis
it.
will get there
I'm
because
good
of their
with Lenny
influence.
Kravitz.
And
Ozzy needs to be there.
Ozzy.
because he, Crazy Train was not a Black Sabbath song.
He
That's
has a number
classic rock.
of kind of famous
Did
songs.
he have
just
another
by
group
himself.
too? He had another group, didn't he? What was it? So he was Ozzy Osbourne and he was Black Sabbath, but wasn't there somebody else?
Well,
It
he had
What was the
different
other?
bands backing him up, but he was always Ozzy.
I thought there was another group that he was in, but I'm
don't
probably
know.
wrong.
I'm doing a little research. Hold on, just
Well, I got a band that were all.
But there's other ones. I mean, I'm sure like Johnny Cash. And I mean, there's some that I'm sort of okay if they were influential, so influential in the music business that they, like.
Well, there's certainly some
Cash
rockers that
and-
followed Cash.
Yeah.
That developed what he did
Right.
and brought it into rock and roll.
And
but
so
not
you induct them because of their
influence.
but it's still got to be an influence on rock music.
right.
I mean, they've just turned this into a music hall of fame, right? You
Yeah.
know, and it's like, no, this is supposed to be rock and roll.
now.
Hall
It
of Fame.
said that
I'm
he
with you.
did Ozzy perform with a band called Earth.
That
Never
must
heard
have
of
been
him.
early on
we
or
all
something.
have
Yeah.
Earth records, and I've got a poster of Earth on my
I bet there's a bunch
door
of
in my
records at
bedroom.
a flea mall somewhere for him.
somewhere. All right, have y'all heard the news about Don Henley?
Rock news. I have.
So
or
this
I
is
saw an
interesting.
article about it. Yeah.
I don't know if I really need
and
to
I love
read
the
this.
Eagles.
This is about
Well,
Hotel
first of all,
California
Tim,
album,
First
right?
of all, can we get something straight? It's not the Eagles. The name of the band is Eagles.
I stand corrected.
So I'm going to read
you
this
should.
article. This is
He
one of
just
the reasons I'm doing
withstood you
this.
to the face.
That's what Glenn Fry, in an interview, he said he corrected somebody one time. I remember this, and he said, the band is not the Eagles. Everybody says it wrong. It's Eagles.
Hey, I saw what was
and
left.
that's the same kind of attitude that made them break up for 30 years
Right.
before they finally got
Hey,
back
I
together.
saw what was left of the Eagles. I'm sorry, Eagles perform last fall. They still put on a really good show. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
really
Was that
good
with
show.
Vince Gill?
It was with Vince Gill.
His last. He's not touring with them anymore.
I
is
don't
he?
think
And
so.
was that with Glenn's son?
Glenn's son was there too. Yeah.
All right, so
French, right? Fry.
Don Henley and Glenn Frey
Wow.
followed a routine while writing some of the most emblematic and enduring songs of the 1970s. The men who co-founded Eagles, I'm correcting the article as I read it,
Well, you should.
would rent a house and bring in a piano and guitars. The two would rise in late morning, not a surprise there. Musician time, Mr. Henley testified in a Manhattan courtroom. They would make coffee, then have philosophical conversations, and begin trying out riffs and discussing song titles, subject matters, concepts. Mr. Henley paid particular attention to lyrics, crafting and refining them on legal pads. The pages came to have a deeply personal meaning, and Mr. Henley said he saved them inside a barn on his organic farm in Malibu, California. They have a deeply personal meaning to me. I'm going to keep them in the barn.
In the barn. Did
Now they are
something
at the
happen to
center.
the barn?
I have a feeling his barn is probably not what we think of as
Oh,
a barn. Yeah. It's probably got his Porsches parked in it.
It's like that one across the street from my house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now the notes are at the center of an unusual prosecution in state Supreme Court. A rare book dealer, Glenn Horowitz, is accused along with two other men of conspiring to possess stolen property, some 100 pages of Mr. Henley's handwritten notes and drafts for hits like New Kid in Town, Hotel California, and Life in the Fast Lane. I had Hotel California. All three of those songs are on that album.
Yep.
So that's the time frame.
Yeah, it was that album. The article I read said it was specifically that album that these notepads came from.
So basically, I'm not going to read this New York Times,
Yeah.
so it'll go on for 20 pages. But he was being interviewed by a biographer or something, and he gave this guy the handwritten lyrics to
For
take
the
home.
biography.
It had something to do with the biography. And then he kind of forgot about it for a while. And then maybe he saw it for sale,
Oh, no.
and he was like, hey, wait a minute. Or he was looking for them, and he realized about 10 years ago, right, Jason? He's been fighting this for a
Yeah.
decade.
It's just now
that
going to court.
Somebody
isn't it?
had stolen the handwritten lyrics.
But
for
had they
these
stolen
songs.
them, or did he give them to? So
Well, he
he
didn't,
gave them
But
to
the
person
he gave
one?
them to the
debate.
person for the research. His side is he gave them to the guy to help with the research for the biography.
And that's the truth.
I believe that.
That's
yeah.
the truth.
And then, were they stolen from that guy or something?
No, he
or
sold them
No, he
at auction.
He
he
sold
held
them.
on to them, and then after statute of limitations, I guess he thought, well, he's not missing
But
these.
to
I'm going to
me,
make some bank.
it's Henley's intellectual property, so I think he's going to end up winning the case.
He
Now, I could
better
be
win.
wrong. He should.
It's ridiculous this has gone on as long as it has.
It really is.
But that's his stuff, you know. He
Yeah.
wrote
And
the
I bet,
songs.
unlike a certain computer shop that said if your stuff is here for a certain amount of time, it becomes the possession of the computer shop. I bet he didn't have one of those writers when he handed the documents over to this guy. So there
Right.
should be no statute.
Yeah, the biographer didn't say, you know, if you don't come get these
Yeah.
in 3 years, they're mine.
Well, and I think the biographer could look at him and say, "Oh, I know what these are," and then call Don Henley and say, "Hey, do you want these back, or what do you want to do with these?"
I would like a copy of them just so I could figure out what Hotel California is all about. I've been wondering since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's a little weird,
It's a strange.
You can
Kinda
check out
psychedelic.
anytime you like, but you can never leave.
right?
Hmm.
I like the guitars. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Hey, even live, even in their more advanced age, they can still play and sing that song very, very well.
You know that line, her mind is Tiffany twisted?
Yeah.
I sang that definitely twisted until last year. And then my wife was laughing at me, and I said, what? And she's like, it's Tiffany twisted.
Well, I will tell you, that's where the streaming services that put the lyrics up
Yeah.
now
Oh,
is a
yeah.
game
Go
changer.
full circle.
Yeah,
Back.
I've got the little
We didn't have
Amazon.
that.
I've
Yeah.
got the Amazon that has the little small screen that
yeah.
sits in front of my
Yeah,
keyboard.
those are neat.
And when I play the music, it runs, and I'm like, just continually
That's what
enlightened.
that's-
It's like, I
What?
have been singing that wrong for
You know, which for
years.
me, it's like play Elton John. And so, it starts, and it's like, how many things does he say? And it's like, what in the world?
Is it true that he says, "Hold me close, Tony Danza"?
It is exactly true. It says on there, Tony Danza.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I always thought that lyric
And
said.
Tony was only like 6 years old then, which makes
was
it
really
weird,
weird,
too.
yeah.
So,
Ew.
but there's just
We may have to cut that out.
my cousin used to think that in the song "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" that Elton sang, "The cats won't pee in your penthouse," and I can't even think of what that real line is. Right?
Yeah.
The cats won't pee in your penthouse. I'm going back to my plow. So yeah,
And he was just okay with that.
he was okay with it.
He's a fan of the song.
How many lyrics did we have in the 70s, and we're like, no idea what this meant. And sometimes they would interview Elton and Bernie Taupin, and they would be like, so what did that mean? And they're like, we have no idea. We just put some words together.
When we wrote
just put some words together.
I
Sounded
remember,
good, right?
You remember when the cassette started having on the front cover, you could open it up and the
Oh,
lyrics.
man, yeah.
I mean, that thing would be that thick, but it had
Tiny
all the
print.
lyrics, and it was so cool to read through those.
Yeah.
The song, the Beatles song "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Mm-hmm.
There's a line in there: "The girl with kaleidoscope eyes,"
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he was saying the girl with colitis goes by.
Oh,
Colitis.
if the girl
I'm
with
like,
colitis goes
bless
by,
her
you're
heart.
gonna know.
Maybe there was some smell.
Poor girl.
He's like, here she comes, guys.
There she
Here's your
is.
nose.
Like Hansel and Gretel, just leave a little bread trail.
All right, we're back. Thank you for sticking with us so far. Tim, you got our quote for today, so read us the next passage.
Yeah, let's get to our passage. So this one is, I believe, the second quote that we've done from Robert Louis Stevenson. So we won't go into a biography there or anything, but let's just get straight on to the passage for tonight. It is, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." So I liked that one, and I think that it has a lot of everyday application, and it also has some really good applications as it deals to our work for the Lord, our work in the church, our spiritual lives. So, one thing to me is we are so results oriented in so many areas of our lives that that's just our judgment of success or failure. And I think that this is good. This quote helps a little bit with the idea that we need to be careful in only judging by big results of things. And sometimes maybe we look at something and we have a big loss, but there may be a ton of good things and victories that occur. I worked on something last year at work that took most of the year. It didn't take like all of my time, but I worked on it over the course of the year. And we dug and we met with attorneys, and we were working on a potential change in the way that we were charging a particular fee, and it was going to have some really positive results, and we're really excited about it. And we kept working and working, and I met with folks, and I just came to the conclusion one day, there is no way that we can do this accurately. And so I went back to my boss, and I'm like, we need to shut this down. We need to stop this. It doesn't make sense. And you could tell that I think she was more disappointed for me than even I was disappointed myself, because it was a good thing, and to get to the end and have success was good. And she was trying to pump me up. It's like, we really learned a lot of things along the way here, and some things that we can use, and we made some new contacts with folks and learned some new people and things, and so, but it's disappointing whenever you do, something doesn't have the result and the success and the celebration that you want but sometimes we don't need to judge our lives that way based on the big successes. So,
yeah, one thing that I like about this quote is it's a way that you can have a sense of control, especially in our day and age. We've been talking in this podcast about how much things have changed. You know, in the old days when you were in manufacturing or farming or other industries from, you know, the days before the modern innovations that have come up, you could see your work pretty quickly. From point A to point B was a short distance. These days, we're more service-oriented, and we don't really know the effects of what we're doing. And I think that applies to all three of us and what we do. You don't get to see the end result. If you ever do, it's years down the road. But if you focus on what seeds you're sowing, you can have that sense of accomplishment. We had a program here at church for a while, an evangelism program called Sowing the Seed. And we said, don't count, baptisms, don't count results. Let's not count new members. Let's count seeds that we sow. A seed could be a Bible study. A seed could be an invitation to church.
right.
And you just make a goal of, I'm going to plant 10 seeds a week or whatever. And that may be cards that you write.
Right.
But
What
you
are
can do
what's the
that.
thing that you can do, and then you accomplished it, and then something comes of it, and sometimes what we don't have the ability to measure is the time that germination takes when
That's
it comes to seed. Right?
It reminds me of Paul's statement. Apollos planted, I watered, but God gave the growth.
right.
And we don't know God's part. His time is different from ours, and you got to also consider the soil of the person's heart, and that person's free to make whatever decision he or she wants to make. All we can do is plant the seed.
Well, even the biblical example about planting the seed, it was a 1/4 of the seed that was planted produced
Yes.
some of it produced and it was choked out or it died out, but only 1/4 of what was sown actually brought a really bountiful harvest. I really like the control element that you brought up with this too, because even if you go back to as simple as the idea of going out into a field and planting seed and waiting for the harvest, the only thing we can control is the seed that we're planting. So the harvest you reap has a lot of other influences, kind of what you were just talking about. I mean, I can't control if it rains. I can't control the soil quality very well. And so the one thing I can control every day is doing what I can to produce and to plant and to put out this seed.
Yeah.
And if I've done that, then I've done all I can do. And I have to sit back and let time take its course and see the result. But we force our kids to be really result oriented sometimes, to the point of it's not what you're doing, but it's what did this produce.
Right. The
And that's
older
a
I
dangerous thing, because
the
sometimes
less I feel control over results.
Yeah,
And the
'cause-
less I worry about it. I think I'm still too worried about it, but I think we just need to think about doing right things as best as we can, and leaving the rest to God and the other people we're trying to influence.
I think what Jason's about to go do is a good example of this, right? So Jason's heading on a medical mission, and so it's one of those situations where the whole premise of this is, they're running a clinic associated with the church in Cusco, and it's all about seed planting. Y'all aren't trying to seal the deal with those folks that day, but the Cusco church has a history of being known in the community as the church who cares about people,
helps people,
church who helps people, and a lot of that comes through these clinics that they've done, also through concrete floors that Drew and I have poured throughout the area of Cusco, but that's a story for another day. And we may have even told that story, I don't know. But in all seriousness, Jason and what he's doing, those people they'll be exposed to the church and coming through there, but they're going to be helped. They're going to be helped physically. Somebody's going to, look at them and care for them, and then there'll be somebody who tries to plant a seed with them about the church, and lets them go on their way, and maybe Sunday they come back, and maybe 5 years from Sunday they hit some hard time or have a moment, and they think about that church, and it may germinate that day, or it may just get started that day, and that's the interesting thing about this. And but we talk about here at Asheville Road, seed, plant, fruit, right? Mm-hmm. That's our process for making disciples. And so we think a lot here about seed. And the most important thing that we can do as Christians is, to your point about getting the word out there, inviting people to church. God's not going to give the increase when there's no seed that's planted.
Yes.
And so we have,
point.
We've got to do our part, and that's what's critical for all of us, right? Is to do the things that we need to do through influence, through direct invitation and teaching, all the ways that we can, encouraging others. We got to plant that seed. And it's reason for celebration when people plant seed, because we have a lot of friends, and, we have a lot of people here that are here because somebody planted a seed. I mean, we all are to some degree, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's a danger in being focused on reaping the harvest too, because that danger is if you're not seeing that harvest being reaped in your own time frame or at the time or in the way you want it to see it, it's really easy to let yourself get discouraged. And when we're discouraged, we stop working. When we stop working, then there is no harvest. And so I think if we focus on what we can do, what we can control, fellowship I'm a member of, what they say all the time is do the next right thing. If we're focusing on doing that next right thing, focused on planting the seed, whether that's just showing love in the community or showing the love of Christ to someone else or teaching God's word or whatever, if we're focused on doing that and we're successful in that, every time we do it, we're successful in it. And who cares what the result is? That's going to work itself out. That's not our control. Yeah. We can't force people to respond to what we're doing, just like we can't force the soul to grow stuff like we want it to grow.
Yeah, that's a powerful idea. I think another part of this quote that we would easily dismiss or just pass over is the phrase, each day. It's important that we think of planting seeds every day, and that incremental progress, gradual, slow but steady, is very powerful. I think a lot of us try to grab a big handful of seed and throw it out there twice a year in whatever it is that we're endeavoring to do, because life is a grind. You've got the fires you got to put out, you've got kids that have needs and job obligations, and I mean we do think about planting seeds in terms of our careers and child rearing, but most of the time, I don't know about y'all, I'm thinking about the extra stuff that life is really about. Most of our talk has been around evangelism. Is there something I can do every day to win souls? Or even if it's just thinking about strategies, thinking about people, praying for people, that counts.
Just showing kindness, mercy, and grace.
Yes.
That goes a long way to
with
building up results.
You come into contact with.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody in the line at the grocery store in front of you.
Well, it's that idea of just reflecting Christ through our own lives. I mean, and he looked for ways to plant those seeds in the strangest of environments.
Yeah. I have not taught teens in a long time until this past quarter, and we all know what it's like to teach teens. They've been really good and they've interacted with me, but you get some teen face sometimes, right? Where it's you feel like is everybody out there? Is anybody out there?
I like that phrase, teen face. Have you ever used that before?
I don't think so.
I need to trademark that.
Yeah.
That's good.
But you know, we've been talking about Bible basics, and I've tried to emphasize that someday soon for all of them, they're going to be far enough away from home. For everybody in that class, it's within the next 6 years, maybe a few years more than that if they, stay at home for a little longer or whatever. But pretty soon for all of them, it's going to come the time when they start making their own decisions about being part of the church and, and just, simple as coming to services, but really, remaining faithful to God and standing on their own faith. And, I don't know, I just want to plant some things that maybe one day down the line they'll think about, and, I think I told them, one of these days you get to decide if you want to go to Box Springs Church, or, when you're in college or whatever versus, getting up and going. And we talked about, some of the things like, that what the church really is. It's the bride of Christ, and, he gave his life for it. And we talked about a lot of fundamental things, but all with the purpose of, guys, it's coming for you. And a lot of people and a lot of parents have said a lot of things to their kids in preparing them, but you think, I don't know if I'll ever be in another class with these kids to talk about this. And you just think, I want to plant some seeds. And, I don't expect them to walk out today with that necessarily, but maybe one day some thought will come back to mind, of something we've talked about and, the importance of this. And you never know, because that's one of those areas with our kids and with the teens. A lot of times we're saying things and they're looking at us like we got three heads, right? Mm-hmm. And you think, am I planting something? Will this germinate at some point?
That's why the seed is a great metaphor, because it's hidden in the earth when it's doing its work. And you can't see what's going on. I think you guys probably had this. Do you remember when your teacher would have you plant a bean seed in like a transparent cup or something, where you could see it actually form roots and form the shoot that comes up? We're not meant to see that. That's hidden in the ground. And I think that's another reason why the seed is such a great metaphor for doing good and God's work.
Well, and
so much of it's behind the scenes.
That it can sometimes sit dormant for years and years and years, and then the right conditions come along, and here it comes. It's growing. I mean, that's such a cool thing to think about as well.
Yeah. And I think for all of this is, the premise of this whole thing is, don't get discouraged. If you're doing good stuff, and you're trying your best, wherever it is, if you're out on the baseball field and you're giving it your best shot that you've got and the results aren't coming, keep trying. Keep working. If you're in the office and nobody's realizing it and you're getting it after it every day, celebrate with yourself what you've accomplished. If you're doing good in the church, but it hasn't turned into somebody, in the baptistry yet, celebrate the fact that you're doing God's work. And that, I think that's the focusing on the seeds every day and not on just the harvest. We want to celebrate the harvest too, because those are the big wins and they deserve celebration, but it's not all about that.
But in the grand scheme of things, the results go to the glory of God.
That's
no
right.
matter what.
That's right.
I mean, that's right. It's not to our glory, it's to his glory.
I'm coming back around to this idea that we've been working on through a lot of quotes, which is learn to enjoy the journey.
That's right.
Instead of fixating on the outcome.
Yeah, the destination. That's
because
right.
life is the journey.
Yep.
And this is yet another quote that's led us to that. So we're working on it. Well, that's a good place to stop. I got some exciting news as we go out on this podcast. We have an Instagram account now.
Now that is awesome.
So I have something to say at the end of the podcast.
Who threw that together for us?
Well,
Our internet
Ava
person?
helped me out a
Oh,
lot.
awesome.
Thanks,
Drava.
Ava.
Drava has
Drava
created this for us.
Enterprises went to work for us, and we've got it. It's passages_podcast. You can find it just searching on Instagram.
That's awesome.
And we have something like I think we have 30 followers. It's unbelievable.
It's more than
The
one.
growth.
It's
I planted
amazing.
a seed, and it has
It's amazing.
blossomed into this.
I'm prepared to retire in the
Phenomenon.
near future as this thing goes viral.
Yeah.
And we get our first sponsor.
I asked Ava. I said, "Should we open accounts?"
Wendy's, we're still here.
I asked Ava, "Should we open accounts on Twitter and Facebook?" She said, "Nobody looks at that." I said, "Well, they have a few billion users, but I'll go with you on that because I don't have time to watch them." But
As long as we don't have to start making dumb TikTok videos, that's all. I draw the line at that. Yeah,
that will never happen.
No.
We have a face for radio. I
absolutely.
don't think we need to be on the TikTok doing a
There's a reason.
choreographed.
There's a reason that
movement.
the image on the podcast is
Silhouettes.
that are not us.
I appreciate the fact that mine is not drawn to scale.
Absolutely.
I love that you think there's one.
Yeah.
When we first made that, Tim's like, "Mine is a little lean." I'm like, "How do you know which one is you?"
Oh, we know. If you know,
Because it's
you
the
know.
biggest one in the group, but he ain't big enough.
We appreciate everybody listening and the feedback you give. It's just been overwhelming, and we enjoy this, and it's just great to have people enjoying it along with us. So stay tuned, Jason. We wish you well on
Safe
your trip.
travels.
Safe travels. Come back to us safe and sound. And until next time, keep listening to Passage.